Yeah, actually today I will go through two parts with recommender system and one part with the measurement to appropriate reliance. So this one is some paper I find, say, I think this idea is relatively interesting. Actually, they try to provide recommendations to users like say, with your experience, we want to recommend you maybe some other hotels you may like. Yeah, but to explain the recommendations, you know that recommender system actually works as a ranker. That means you have a list of candidates and then based on their scoring, they provide a ranking for you. So how to explain the ranking of their recommendations? So actually this work propose an interesting idea. They try to say compare the recommendations with your experienced items. That means say maybe you have experienced 3 hotels, then we try to rank hotel ABC with your experience and then explain each one with text highlights, show why we think it's better or it's worse than your experienced items. So here I think one insight here is that say users have a very good understanding of their experienced items and they can then with the help of their experience, they can understand the ranking better with comparative say how to say it, comparative presentation or comparative framing about it. So actually I'm thinking say with this, I think with a similar idea, we may try to explain with users experience and belief. If we have such say user maybe posts on Twitter, users purchase history, users say other footprints on websites, on internet, then maybe we can generate better explanations if we can find something comparative to his experience and belief. This is just one, say, one takeaway I think may be useful.
Gaole, did you appreciate the relevance it has to analogical inference?
This one, I guess it's not say analogical inference. Actually, I think. Do you mean like the takeaway?
Yeah. So I think it's not
Okay.
directly that, but it's very similar, huh?
Yeah,
Because you're sort of trying to plant or ground the explanation in something someone already understands well, right? In this case,
yeah.
that's a comparison with an experience. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. Another part is from a web conference tutorial, Psychology-Informed Recommender Systems, a human-centric perspective on recommender systems. Actually, they have, say, many interesting maybe ideas, but here I just focus on, say, one, it's the personality of your recommender system. Here, first, they try to model, say, humans' personality traits with 5 dimensions with, I guess it's based on questionnaire, but they also mention actually through say experiments, they also prove that you can even predict the personality traits with machine learning models. That means maybe you have some user experience, users say purchase history, and then use this to predict their personality traits. They find both has advantages, like machine learning part is less expensive, possible to train on a small amount of data and apply to say large scale of data. It's advantage, but say we know it's less accurate, definitely. The questionnaire, it may be more accurate, but say much more expensive, exactly. And actually, they also show their personality traits actually have some correlation with users' preference on items. Actually, they try to calculate, I forget what scores they calculate, but I think it's like, say, Pearson correlation or something. Yeah, I think it should be correlation scores and find that personality has effects on, say, movie, book, and music. Like this content-based recommendation, they think this personality traits affect it much. Yeah. So for this part, do you have, say, any question?
Yeah, actually. So, and it's going to deal with the audience that they're trying to model this personality. Whenever I see this idea of trying to model abstract concepts of a human, I always get very skeptical. So in terms of this correlation between the personality and the item preferences, yeah, this is, I'm assuming, very targeted to, adults section, when there's still the audience of like teenagers where that's going to shift, like their preferences and their interests and everything are going to shift, but not necessarily their personality overall. So how does that does that come into play at all?
Actually here I want to clarify that it's a correlation, try to just focus on the personality traits. It's not a, say, causative model or what, say, makes user like this these categories, these genres. I think it's some correlation.
Right, but if it's their preferences and you're trying to correlate the preferences to the personality, then there is going to be some type of cause. Because what my personality is going to inform my preferences for things. Like, for example, if I'm interested in pirates, I'm going to be very inclined to prefer items that have the Jolly Roger on it or something like that. And so is that type of thing considered in here? And that's those shifts, like teenagers are going to be very zeroed in on one thing, particularly music oriented. And then that's going to shift as they get older, or things, fall out of vogue and become less popular. So
yeah, actually, I know something. I know something about it, but say I will honestly say in industry, in companies, actually they may have some initial design like this, but they will say fine tune their recommender system. I say user profile modeling. Actually, it's, you can think it's a very long feature vector stored for your ID, and then actually they try to first maybe show some recommendations from their perspective. They think it's very good, maybe based on her personality traits, based on your experience. But say with regard to your response, they will gradually change the feature vectors and change the strategy for recommendation. So actually, I think it makes sense in, say, academic scenario. You build some recommender system, you try to verify whether the personality traits has impact on your, say, recommender systems adoption. Yeah, but I think in the real application, it's totally different. So actually, I guess.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Do they describe how they built their user base for the that use for these experiments? Just because, just to follow up on what you were discussing, guys, I think that basically the main problem here is also regarding the context from which the person are taken. So if they were, for example, all from, I don't know, just a simple thing, just all from the United States or from Japan or China or Italy, depending on the, let's say, also on the location from which the person are taken, obviously the whole thing is going to change.
Yes, but I guess they don't have such design. They may just take, maybe have some, I guess maybe have someone from online or just like local. I guess they don't consider this. Yeah, I guess just from
it's just from concept, right? That this can be done.
Yeah.
Did they specify how they what's the word that I'm looking for?
Actually,
the questionnaire.
They don't make this very concrete. They just show an idea what's personality of a recommender system, and I think it's interesting. I'll show it to you. If you are interested, you can refer to the slides. They have the citation for the concrete paper. Yeah, Tahir.
If you go back to the first paper, Gaole, the comparative explanation. So I found this idea quite interesting. So what I understand is that comparative explanation means why one would prefer hotel A compared to hotel B. And if it is the case, so I was just wondering, how did they create the explanations for end users? Is there any, did they use the currently existing model, or did they create the explanation themselves?
Yeah, actually, the explanations is not say created by human. It's by say deep learning models. They try to generate the highlight on text. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think the most valuable part is just the idea to compare your purchased items, your experience with their recommendations. I don't try to say show you the model part. Yeah.
Okay,